A personal note to you, dear friend. You know, at my age, I've heard plenty of stories about forgiveness. Heard them at church suppers, over coffee at the kitchen table, during those long afternoons on the porch. But this story, well, this one stayed with me. It happened in San Francisco, in that Mission district where my cousin Dolores used to live. It's about a woman named Margot who lost her boy to drugs. Lord knows too many of us understand that pain. And it's about what happened when she came face to face with the very man who sold her son that poison. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some things can't be forgiven. Some wounds run too deep. But sometimes life surprises you, even at our age. Sometimes grace shows up in the strangest places, like when you're down to your last $8 and wondering how you'll make it through the week. The $5 bill felt soft as old flannel, the kind of worn money that had passed through 1,000 hands at church collections and corner groceries. 3 ones, folded neat as you please. $8 total her grocery money until the Social Security check came first of the month. Lord willing, Margot Sinclair counted them again in the yellowish streetlight outside Chen's Market. The old Chinese gentleman would close at 10 sharp, just like he had every night since he opened back, except 15 minutes to get something day-old bread maybe. And if she was lucky, some of that milk he'd mark down when it got close to the date. Then came that sound metal scraping asphalt like fingernails on a chalkboard, a motorcycle going down hard, the kind of Harley-Davidson the boys rode back from Vietnam, sliding sideways in a shower of sparks. The rider hit the pavement and rolled twice before stopping against the lamppost. His leg bent wrong as a broken matchstick. The car that clipped him, some foreign thing, not American-made, didn't even tap the brakes. Just kept going like nothing happened. Like people do these days. Margot's feet started moving before her mind caught up. 71 years old, arthritis in both hips, and here she was hurrying toward trouble. But she couldn't help thinking about Nathan, her boy, dying alone on a sidewalk not 6 blocks from here while folks just walked on by. Took 40 minutes before anybody had the Christian decency to call for help. The man was trying to sit up when she reached him. 50-something, face weathered like a farmer's but wrong. Somehow this was hard-living weather, not honest work. Blood seeped through his dungarees at the knee. Under the streetlight, she could see the jacket clear as day, black leather with that skull and wings, Hell's Angels, same as those boys who used to roar through town back in the 60s, back when Margot was young and Marcus was alive, and Nathan was just a gleam in their eyes. Don't! The man's voice came out rough as gravel. Don't call the cops! She knelt beside him, her knee popping like breakfast cereal. This close, she could smell the Marlboros on him, same brand Nathan used to smoke. There was something else, too. That medicinal smell from the methadone clinic over on 20th Street. And on his neck, clear as daylight, a tattoo that said "Live Free" in those fancy letters the kids used to like. Her stomach dropped like she'd missed a step going down to the basement. She'd seen that exact tattoo before in the police photos from Tucitl, Shane Tucker. The name was burned in her memory like a brand. Shane Tucker. Who sold drugs to kids? Shane Tucker, who the police said was seen with Nathan the day he died. Your leg needs tending, she said, voice steady as she could make it. I'm all right. No, son, you're not. That word, son, just slipped out. The way she used to talk to any young person in trouble. His eyes, pale blue like winter sky, fixed on hers. Something flickered there. Pain, sure, but something else. Recognition. No, that was impossible. They'd never met, though Lord knows she'd thought about it during those dark nights after Nathan passed. The blood was spreading now, darkening his jeans like spilled coffee. She could see old scars on his hands where the veins showed needle marks. healed over, but never really gone, like the ones Nathan had before the end. Chen's market has bandages, she heard herself say. Inside, old Mr. Chen looked up from his crossword, probably the same book he'd been working since Christmas. Behind those thick glasses his daddy probably bought in Hong Kong, his eyes took in her face. Someone's hurt out. Hit and run. Chen peered through the window. That's Shane Tucker. Bad news, that one. The name hit her again, harder this time. But her hands were already reaching for the hydrogen peroxide, the gauze, the tape. Her hands remembered the motions from when she'd volunteered at the Veterans Hospital, back when President Reagan was in office. $7.85, Chen said at the register. Margot laid her $8 on the counter that warned those 3 ones. Chen looked at the bills, then at her face. He'd known her long enough to know this was all she had until the first. He pushed 15 cents back across the counter with the supplies. You keep that, Mrs. Margot. Outside, Shane Tucker had propped himself against the pole. Sweat beaded on his forehead, despite the cool October evening, the kind of October San Francisco used to have before the weather went strange. She knelt again and uncapped the peroxide. This'll sting some. The liquid foamed pink and white over the wound. Shane's jaw clenched, but he didn't cry out. His hands, she noticed, had that tremor not from pain, but from being clean. She'd seen it at the Methodist Church's recovery meetings, back when she still had hope Nathan might walk through those doors. How long, she asked, not looking at his face. Ma'am, how long since you quit using silent stretch between them like taffy? Then 18 months. That's good, she said, wrapping the gauze firm but not too tight, the way she'd learned all those years ago. That's real good. Before we continue, please leave a like and subscribe. Let me know which city you're watching from. Now, let's get back to the story. Margot climbed the 4 flights to her room, each step deliberate on the worn linoleum that had been there since President Carter was in office. The hallway carried that smell cat boxes nobody cleaned and something sweet sick from 4C where old Mrs. Rodriguez hadn't been seen in 3 weeks. The super wouldn't check. Nobody checked anything anymore. Not like the old days when neighbors looked after each other. Room 4B. She turned the key twice before the lock caught same lock from 1952 according to the super. Inside 400 square feet of what Marcus would have called self-imposed penance. A mattress on the floor with sheets from the Salvation Army that smelled like other people's lives, no matter how much borax she used. 1 Revere ware pot. 1 cast iron pan older than Nathan would have been. 1 Corelle plate that wouldn't break no matter how many times she dropped it. She sat on the mattress edge and worked off her canvas shoes, the kind the nurses wore at San Francisco General back in the day. Holes starting where her big toes pressed through. Tomorrow she'd need food. But those $8 were gone now, given to the man who'd killed her boy. Funny thing, her hands weren't shaking, steady as Sunday morning. The phone buzzed on the apple crate she used for a nightstand, that flip phone the man at the Verizon store said was retro. Alan Whitman's number showed on the little screen. Margot, the quarterly statements are ready for your signature. Shred them. Alan, the trust is worth $67.3 million now. The Microsoft investment alone. She closed the phone. $67 million sitting in Chase Manhattan or wherever they kept it now. Marcus had built that software company from nothing, working in their garage while she brought him coffee and sandwiches. Sold the whole thing to Bill Gates's people for $90 million just before the cancer took him. The tap ran rusty for 10 seconds before clearing, same pipes since the Eisenhower administration. She filled her jelly jar glass, drank it standing at the window, below, under that streetlight that had been yellow since forever. The dark stain showed where Shane Tucker had bled. Shane Tucker. She knew that name like she knew the Lord's Prayer. 3 knocks at her door, hard, urgent, wrong. Grace, it's Shane Tucker. We need to talk about Nathan. The doorknob felt cold as a November morning under Margot's palm. Shane Tucker stood in that narrow hallway, weight on his right leg, that mop handle he'd found somewhere bearing the rest. Fresh blood showed through the gauze she'd wrapped. He'd climbed 4 flights on that bad knee. "How'd you find me?" "Wasn't hard, ma'am," asked Mr. Chen, who bought the medical supplies. Elderly lady, gray hair and a bun like the church ladies wear, walks with her left shoulder dropped a touch. He shifted, grimacing like Marcus used to when his back acted up. "Chen said you're the one who feeds the strays out back. Said you live up here in 4B. The cats. She'd forgotten about them tonight, first time since she'd moved here. "What do you want?" "May I come in?" "No." Shane nodded like he'd expected that. The fluorescent tube in the ceiling flickered the way they did when they were fixing to burn out building. Probably hadn't changed them since Johnson was president. Under that harsh light, she could see the scars better. Thin line through his eyebrow like a prize fighter might have. Another along his jaw that looked like a broken bottle had done it. "I knew Nathan Sinclair," he said, voice flat as day-old Coca-Cola. Margot's fingers pressed into the doorknob hard enough to feel the metal edges bite. "Sold to him March 15th, 2012. Shane kept his eyes on hers, steady as a confession. 5 in the afternoon, corner of Mission and 16th, right by that phone booth Pacific Bell never took down. $50 of black tar heroin. Her throat closed up like she'd swallowed lye. The details, Lord help her, he remembered every detail. Your boy talked about his mother that day. Shane's voice stayed level, like reading from a grocery list. Said she was the kindest person in the world. Said he was trying to quit for her. Said she'd raised him right after his daddy died. Margot's knees wanted to buckle like bad folding chairs, but she locked them straight. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because when you wrapped my knee down there, your hands moved exactly like my grandmother's did. She was an Army nurse in the Pacific, back in the war. Same way of doing things quick. Sure, no fuss." Shane shifted his weight again. Sweat rolled down his temple, even though the hallway was cold as a meat locker. "And because you asked how long I'd been clean, not are you clean, but how long? Only folks who've been around users ask it that particular way. Lots of people have addicts in their families these days." "That's true enough." Shane reached into his jacket pocket, slow, careful, like approaching a spooked animal. He pulled out a photograph, edges soft from handling. "This here is Charlie, my nephew." A boy, maybe 16, blonde hair that needed cutting, crooked smile like he'd just heard something funny, school photo backdrop, the mottled blue they'd used since the 50s. "He's dead," Shane said, no more emotion than announcing rain. 18 months back, overdosed on heroin I sold him." The words hung there in that stale hallway air that hadn't moved since Roosevelt. Somewhere below, a door slammed. Someone's television played too loud, sounded like Wheel of Fortune. That Sajak fella still at it after all these years. "Raised him from when he was 10, Shane continued, "after my brother went to San Quentin for armed robbery. Good kid, smart as a whip. Wanted to be a veterinarian, work with horses." His voice caught on that last word like a hangnail on wool. "I got him high the first time when he was 14. Thought I was being the cool uncle. You know, just marijuana at first. Then mother's little helpers, Percocet from when I broke my ribs. Then heroin. Then heroin." Shane slipped the photo back in his pocket, gentle as handling communion wafers. Found him in my bathroom. Used my own needle, my own stash I thought I'd hidden good enough. Margot's hand came off the doorknob. She didn't invite him in. But she didn't close the door either. They stood there, two people old enough to know better, young enough to still be breathing. That when you got clean, day after the funeral, checked myself into County General's program. You know, the one basement of the old wing they built after the earthquake in '06. He laughed, but it sounded like grinding gears. 30 days of hell. Well, second worst hell. Worst was identifying Charlie at the morgue. She knew about morgues. Nathan's face under those fluorescent lights, waxy wrong like a mannequin. That birthmark on his shoulder shaped like Texas, only way she could believe it was really him. The angels kicked me out, Shane went on. Can't be a brother if you're clean. They said, can't trust a sober man when everyone else is using. Funny how that works. Why are you here, really? Because I remember every face, ma'am, every person I sold to, every kid who said they wanted to quit. His pale eyes, blue as faded work shirts, met hers directly. Nathan was 23 years old. Brown hair, but bleached at the tips, orange at the roots like he'd used that sun-in stuff from the drugstore. 5'10", maybe 130, soaking wet. Track marks on his left arm, but not the right, harder for southpaws to shoot their dominant arm. Wore a Cal Berkeley sweatshirt, even though it was 70 degrees that day. Margot's chest squeezed tight, every detail right. That sweatshirt had been Marcus's from his MBA days back in the '80s. Nathan wore it everywhere after his daddy died. He had $43, Shane continued. Asked for $40 worth. Told me to keep the change like I was some waitress at Denny's. His hands shook counting it out. Kept saying, sorry, 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 under his breath, like he was apologizing to someone who wasn't there. To her, he'd been apologizing to her. I sold it to him anyway, Shane said. Watched him walk north on mission. He was already cooking it in his head. You could tell. They get that look when they're that desperate. Stop. 7 hours later, your boy was dead. Saw it in the Chronicle the next morning at the donut shop. College kid dies in Mission District. They ran his high school graduation picture. Looked different than healthy. Filled out. Smiling real, instead of that junky smile that don't reach the eyes. That photo. The paper had used Nathan's graduation picture from Lincoln High before the drugs carved him hollow. She'd kept 30 copies of that newspaper in a Safeway bag under her bed, though Lord knows why. Why are you telling me this? Her voice came out rough as sandpaper. Because you spent your last $8 on me tonight. Shane touched the bandage on his knee. Could see it in how you held those bills, how you looked at them before handing them over to Chen. That was your food money till the first, wasn't it? She didn't answer. Didn't need to. I've been looking, he said, not following people or nothing creepy. Just looking for someone like Nathan's mother, someone who might need to hear that he talked about her, that he loved her, that he was trying. You don't know who I am. No, ma'am, but I know you lost someone to this poison. He gestured at his arms, the old track marks like road maps to nowhere, and I know you helped me anyway tonight, even though every bone in your body probably said not to. Mrs. Chen from 4F, no relation to the store owner, cracked her door. Curlers and cold cream, housecoat older than disco. She saw Shane's leather jacket, the Hell's Angels patch, and that door shut fast as a trap. The lock turned twice. There's more, Shane said. About that day, March 15th, about Nathan. Margot's stomach dropped. What? He came twice. First time at 5, like I said. But then, footsteps on the stairs, heavy ones, multiple sets, boots not shoes. Shane turned, his body going tight as piano wire. 3 men appeared at the stairwell, leather jackets. Beards like the hippies used to wear, but meaner. That particular walk of men who enjoyed being feared, Hell's Angels. And the one in front, big as a Frigidaire with a gray beard down to his belt buckle, smiled at Shane, not a nice smile, not a smile you'd want to see in a dark hallway. "Hello, brother," the big one said. "We need to talk about loyalty." The big one filled that hallway like a diesel truck in a one-car garage, 6'4" if he was an inch, shoulders that had to angle sideways to fit between the walls. His leather jacket creaked like an old church pew when he moved. Behind him, 2 more, one Hispanic with those teardrop tattoos they got in prison. The other, pale as milk with a shaved head that caught the flickering fluorescent like a cue ball. "Rex," Shane said. His fingers went white-knuckled on that mop-handle cane. "Rex." Margot knew that name, too, from those police reports she'd read till the pages went soft. Rex Brennan, another dealer from back then, his name circling Nathan's death like buzzards over roadkill. "Not your brother anymore," Shane said. "You boys made that clear 18 months back. Once a brother, always a brother." Rex's voice rumbled low like thunder, still miles off, but coming. "You know how it works. Shane, blood in, blood out." The Hispanic one had shifted closer to Margot's doorway. She could smell him motor oil and those Camel cigarettes, the ones without filters her daddy used to smoke. His eyes passed over her like she was furniture, just another old woman in a housecoat, no account. "Get inside, ma'am," Shane said, not taking his eyes off Rex. "This your new sweetheart, Tucker." Rex laughed, ugly as a crow's call. "Bit long in the tooth for you, ain't she?" Shane shifted his weight onto that bad leg. The bandage had soaked through now, red spreading like spilled wine on a tablecloth. "She's nobody, just helped me after the accident." "Accident?" Rex took a step closer. His motorcycle boot caught Shane's cane, knocked it sideways. "Heard you got clipped. Also heard you been down at the clinic on Valencia, teaching cops how to save junkies with that Narcan stuff." "Paramedics. Teaching paramedics and families? Same difference." Rex's hand dropped to his belt, not reaching for anything particular, just resting there like a reminder. "You forget where you come from, brother. I remember everything." The bald one giggled high and wrong coming from that thick neck. "He remembers. Ain't that sweet as pie?" Mrs. Chen's door cracked open again, just that one eye peering out like a spooked cat. Click, locked again. "Here's what you remember," Rex said. He grabbed Shane's jacket, pulled him close enough Margot could see Shane's feet leave the floor an inch. Shane's bad leg buckled like a folding chair. He caught himself on the wall, left a bloody handprint on that yellow paint that had been there since Truman. "You remember who took you in when you got out of juvie? Who gave you work when nobody else would hire a junkie ex-con? Who made you family when your real family wouldn't look at you?" "Family?" Shane's voice stayed flat as Kansas. "That what we're calling it." Rex's fist moved faster than Margot's eyes could follow. Shane's head snapped back like JFK in that film. Blood sprayed across the hallway floor in a pattern like her mama's rose garden sprinkler used to make. Shane stayed upright, barely the cane clattering away down the hall. Margot heard her own voice before she knew she was speaking. "Stop." Rex turned. His eyes were brown, almost black in that bad light, dead eyes, like looking at buttons. "Lady, get back in your room. This is my home. You're trespassing." The Hispanic one laughed. "Trespassing? She says we're trespassing, like we're kids on her lawn." Rex let go of Shane, who slumped against the wall like his bones had gone soft. Blood ran from his nose into his mouth, turning his teeth pink like those mints they used to give out at the bank. Rex moved toward Margot, each step deliberate as a funeral march. The floorboards groaned under him, old wood, from when they built things to last. You know what he is? Rex pointed at Shane, with a hand tattooed all the way to the fingernails. What he's done. I know he's bleeding in my hallway. He's a rat, turned on his brothers. Now he helps cops. Rex stood close enough she could see the broken veins in his nose, the old needle scars his tattoos couldn't quite hide. You help a rat. You become one. Mr. Petrov's door opened at the end of the hall. The super 70-something, standing there in his boxes and ribbed undershirt like Marlon Brando never went out of style. I called police, Petrov said, his accent thick as borscht. They coming now. A lie. The phone lines had been down 3 days since that truck hit the pole. But Rex didn't know that. This ain't over, Rex said to Shane. Then to Margot, you picked the wrong friend. Grandma. They left like a thunderstorm, passing heavy boots on stairs, the building shaking a little, then motorcycle engines firing up outside, 1, 2, 3 Harleys, the sound rattling windows all the way up. The noise peaked like a crescendo at the Met, then faded toward downtown. Shane stepped down that wall, leaving a red streak like someone had painted with a wide brush. He sat with his legs splayed like a rag doll, head tilted back. Blood still flowed from his nose, steady as a tap. Towel, Margot said to Petrov. Bring a towel. Not my problem, lady. Towel. Or I tell your wife about that woman in Tussi. The one visits Tuesdays when your wife's at her sister's. Petrov muttered in Russian. Probably nothing nice, but shuffled back to his apartment, came back with a dish towel that might have been white when Eisenhower was president. Margot pressed it to Shane's nose. Pinch here. Lean forward. Not back, you'll swallow blood otherwise. Rex, Shane mumbled through the towel. Rex was there, that day. What day? March 15th, when Nathan Rex was there too. Petrov stood watching from his doorway, scratching his belly. You want ambulance hospital? No hospital, Shane said. Then get out of my building. Give us a minute, Mr. Petrov. 1 minute. Then I really call police. Phone in my apartment still works. Another lie, but Shane didn't know that either. Shane struggled to his feet like a newborn colt. Margot retrieved his mop-handle cane, watched him test his weight. His left leg shook like palsy. You can't walk like this. Watch me. He took a step, almost went down, caught himself on the wall, adding another bloody handprint to his collection. Murphy's Diner, Margot heard herself say. 2 blocks. They've got a back booth. Murphy's Diner hadn't changed since Gerald Ford was president. Maybe longer. Same cracked vinyl booths held together with duct tape. Same Formica tables with the gold boomerang pattern. Same coffee that could strip paint. They never closed and never asked questions, which suited folks in this neighborhood just fine. Carmen had worked the night shift 20 years since her husband died in that accident at the docks. She didn't blink at Shane's bloody face or his makeshift cane, just brought coffee without being asked, black and strong enough to float a horseshoe. Shane had cleaned up in the men's room, toilet paper stuffed up one nostril like a kid with a nosebleed. The blood on his jacket wiped away but still showing as dark stains on dark leather. They sat in the back booth where the Springs had given up during the Clinton administration. 2 eggs over easy. Wheat toast, hash browns, Shane told Carmen. Just coffee, Margot said. Bring her the same. Shane said, I'm paying? Carmen left without writing anything down 20 years. She knew every order by heart. The diner was mostly empty. A trucker at the counter eating pie, 2 working girls taking a break in the middle booth. One of them had hair teased up like it was still 1987. The coffee maker hissed like an angry cat. Grease popped on the grill, a sound Margot remembered from when she'd worked at a place like this. Before Marcus, before everything. Rex sold to Nathan too, Shane said, his voice muffled by the tissue. After me. Margot's cup stopped halfway to her lips. Nathan came to me at 5, like I said. Corner of Mission and 16th. I sold to him. As Shane pulled out that photo of Charlie again, set it on the table between them like a playing card. This was taken 2 weeks before he died. See his eyes. The boy's eyes were clear, bright, alive the way kids' eyes should be. Now look. Shane pulled out another photo. This one, a Polaroid, the old kind that you shook. Same boy, but hollow cheek now, eyes flat as dishwater. 3 days before I found him. Why are you showing me this? Because Nathan came back that night, 8 o'clock, different corner, 20th and Mission, by that check cashing place. Found me again. Shane's finger traced the edge of Charlie's photo like he was afraid to actually touch the boy's face. He was crying, said the stuff from earlier wasn't enough, begging for something stronger. The coffee burned Margot's tongue. She set the cup down hard enough to slosh. You said you only sold to him once. I lied to the cops, said I sold to him twice, took the weight for both sales. Shane's voice went rough as burlap, but the second sale was Rex. Nathan found him after I turned him down. Rex sold him the hot shot. Fentanyl mixed in. Dealers do it, sometimes makes the product seem stronger. Word gets out, everybody wants that batch, except the mix ain't even. One bag is regular, next one's strong enough to kill a horse. Carmen came back with plates, eggs, toast, hash browns neither of them had ordered, but she brought anyway. The smell turned Margot's stomach too much grease. Or maybe it was what Shane was telling her. Eat, Shane said. You look like you haven't had a real meal in days. I'm not hungry. Eat anyway. My grandmother always said an empty stomach makes for poor decisions. She picked up the fork. The eggs were runny, yellow bleeding into the white toast like one of those modern paintings Marcus used to pretend to understand. Why lie to the police? Shane laughed, short and bitter. Rex had 2 kids then, 3 and 5 years old. Their mama had overdosed the year before, found her in the bathroom at the Greyhound station. I had nobody. Seemed like simple arithmetic, 1 man in prison instead of 2. 3 kids with at least 1 parent instead of none. Noble of you. Stupid is what it was. Rex kept dealing. His kids are in foster care now anyway. State took them when he left a pound of methamphetamine where the 5-year-old could reach it. Kid thought it was sugar. Almost died. Margot forced herself to take a bite. The egg tasted like nothing, like eating air. I tried to stop Nathan that night, Shane continued. When he came back at 8, told him to go home. Sleep it off. Gotta try again tomorrow. He said tomorrow never comes for a junkies. Said today was all he had. And today he needed it. So you sent him to Rex? No. Never told him where Rex was. But Nathan already knew. Everybody knew Rex would sell to anyone with money. Rex didn't care if you were 12 or 20 or 90. Shane finally took a bite of toast, chewed it like it was cardboard. I thought maybe Nathan would give up, go home, get through the night somehow. You didn't know him? I knew he talked about you, knew he carried that Berkeley sweatshirt everywhere, even though it was 3 sizes too big. Shane met her eyes. I knew he was somebody's son. Margot's throat closed up tight. She put down her fork. After Charlie died, I went through withdrawal at county. You know the place, basement ward, no windows, just fluorescent lights, 24/7. Puking, shaking, feeling like my bones were breaking from the inside out. Shane's hand trembled as he reached for his coffee, still had the shakes, 18 months clean. 3rd day, I kept seeing faces. All the kids I'd sold to over the years. Hundreds of them. Withdrawal hallucinations. Maybe. But I saw Nathan clearest. That Berkeley sweatshirt. The way he kept saying sorry. Shane pulled out a small notebook, pages yellow as old newspaper. Started writing them down. Names, dates, what I sold them, what they said, trying to remember them as people, not just customers. He opened it, page after page of careful handwriting, neat as a school teacher's. March 15th, 2012, he read. Nathan Sinclair, 23, Berkeley sweatshirt. Said his mother was the kindest person in the world. Bought $40. Left $3 tip like I was delivering pizza. Hand shaking bad. Track marks infected on left forearm. Needed antibiotics, but wouldn't go to the free clinic. Margot's vision went blurry. Stop. There's more. Stop. Shane closed the notebook. They sat there while Carmen refilled their coffee, while the trucker paid his check and left, while one of the working girls laughed at something on her phone, probably one of those videos the kids were always watching. I know you're her, Shane said finally. Nathan's mother, Margot Sinclair. The diner air got thick as molasses. The coffee maker's hiss sounded loud as a steam engine. I've known since you wrapped my knee, the way you did it, professional training, but rusty, like you hadn't done it in years. The way you looked at my track marks. The way you asked how long I'd been clean. He touched the notebook. I've been looking for you for 18 months. To tell you about that night. To tell you I said no when he came back. Why? Because you deserve to know your son tried to come back, that he almost made it. Almost. The cruelest word in the Webster's. I hate you, Margot said, calm as discussing the weather. I know. I've wanted you dead for 12 years. I know that too. I used my last $8 helping you. Shane reached into his wallet, old leather, probably from before he went to prison, pulled out 2 20s, slid them across the table. Food money? Take it. I don't want your drug money. It's not drug money. It's from the clinic. They pay me $40 a shift to teach the Narcan training. Clean money. He pushed the bills closer to her. Take it. Buy groceries. Margot looked at the money. Andrew Jackson stared back, stern as a preacher. Why didn't Rex tell the truth after you took the blame? Shane's face went dark as a thundercloud. Because that's not how it works. You don't rat even to save yourself. I broke the code taking credit for his sale. He couldn't correct it without admitting he was there. Honor among thieves. Something like that. Shane stood, careful on that bad leg. There's something else. About your money. Margot looked up sharp. What money? The $67 million? Marcus Sinclair, Sync Tech, the Microsoft deal? Yeah, I know about all that. Shane dropped another 20 on the table. What I'm saying is, I know who you really are, and I know why you're living like you do, punishing yourself for not saving Nathan. You don't know anything about it. I know Nathan wouldn't want this for you. Shane picked up his cane. I'm starting something. A place for kids like Nathan, like Charlie. Free detox, no insurance needed, no questions asked, no police. I need someone who understands the medical side. You're out of your mind. Maybe. But I got a building lined up, old hotel on Valencia, the St. Francis Arms. Owner wants to sell cheap. Get out before the city condemns it. Shane limped toward the door to stopped. Think about it. All that money sitting in some bank vault, doing nothing. Nathan's dead. Charlie's dead. But others aren't. Not yet. He left. Margot sat in that booth, staring at the $60 on the table. Outside, dawn was breaking over the Mission District, painting the sky the color of blood oranges. Her phone buzzed. Alan Whitman again. This time, she answered. Margot, there's a problem with the IRS. We need to talk about those dormant accounts. Margot, the IRS is asking questions about the dormant accounts. Alan Whitman's voice crackled through that little phone like a bad AM radio signal. 67 million sitting untouched for 4 years. It raises red flags. Handle it, Alan. I can't keep papers shuffling on his end. Probably in that office overlooking the bay where Marcus used to take her for their anniversary lunches. You're living in squalor while your husband's legacy generates more interest than most people see in a lifetime. Marcus would. She closed the phone. 3 days passed. Shane's $60 bought groceries, real food this time, not just day-old bread. She even splurged on a can of Folgers, the red can like her mother used to buy. The smell of coffee brewing in her little percolator made the room feel less like a punishment cell. The knock came at 2 a.m. Not polite knocking fists, pounding hard enough to rattle that old door in its frame. "Grace, open up, please, it's Shane." His voice pitched high, wrong, like when Nathan used to call from jail at all hours. Margot pulled on her housecoat pink chenille from the Goodwill, worn smooth in patches, but still decent. The hallway was black as pitch, that burned-out bulb still not replaced. Shane stood there holding up a kid, maybe 17, Hispanic boy thin as a rail. The kid's head lolled forward, chin on his chest like a broken doll. His lips had that blue tinge she'd seen before on Nathan, on the boy from 4C who didn't make it, on too many kids in this neighborhood. "Found him in the stairwell," Shane said. Still breathing, but barely. The boy's weight shifted. Shane's bad leg buckled like a bad hinge. They both almost went down. Margot caught the kid's other arm, bird bones under that oversized Raiders jacket, the old kind from when they were still in Oakland. "My room," she said. They half carried, half dragged him inside, laid him on her mattress, the springs creaking like they might give up entirely. Under her one lamp, a 40-watt bulb from the dollar store, she could see him better. Track marks up both arms like a road map, some fresh red, some old and scarred. A needle still hung from his left arm, dangling by the metal hub. "Called 911, Shane said. 20 minutes minimum. Friday night. Everybody's using—" Margot pulled the needle out, dropped it in her empty Maxwell House can. The boy's breathing was shallow, maybe 6 times a minute. His fingernails had gone purple-blue, like those morning glories Marcus used to grow. "You have Narcan. Used my last dose yesterday on another kid." And Shane was checking the pulse at the boy's neck. 40 beats. He's going out. The breathing stopped. Shane started chest compressions right away, counting under his breath, like they taught at the Red Cross. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. His own breathing labored, sweat already beading on his forehead like when Marcus used to overdo it in the garden. "Let me," Margot said, moving into position. Her hands found the spot 2 fingers up from the bottom of the breastbone, just like she'd learned at San Francisco General in 1901. She started compressions, putting her weight behind it. The boy's ribs were prominent under her palms, like pressing on a xylophone. She felt one crack on the 5th compression, that little pop you never forget. She kept going. Better a broken rib than a dead child. "Come on, Tyler," Shane was saying. "Come on, son." Tyler. The boy had a name. 30 compressions. She tilted his head back, pinched his nose, closed with fingers that knew the motion even after all these years, gave 2 breaths. His chest rose and fell like a bellows. Back to compressions. Shane had his phone out, one of those smart phones the kids all had. "I know someone. Private service. Good doctor. That costs money. Just call." Margot rattled off a number from a memory, surprised she still knew it. "Ask for Dr. Harrison. Tell him Margot Sinclair needs him to use my real name." Shane's eyes widened like a kid seeing Santa Claus, but he dialed. More compressions. Another rib went crack. Tyler's face had gone gray as February sky, lips darker blue than before. She breathed for him again. Tasted something chemical on his lips, bitter as quinine. Fentanyl, probably, mixed in with whatever poison he'd bought. "He's coming," Shane said. 10 minutes. 10 minutes might as well be next Tuesday. She kept pumping. Her arms burned like she'd been kneading bread for hours. Sweat ran into her eyes. Stinging. "Let me take over," Shane said. They switched smooth as dance partners. Shane's compressions were harder, more desperate. He talked to Tyler constantly now, like the boy could hear him. "Your mama's waiting for you, Tyler. Remember, you told me about her. Lives in Modesto with your little sisters. You were going to visit for Thanksgiving." Margot checked her Timex, the one Marcus gave her for their 25th. 7 minutes since they'd started CP. Brain damage starts after 4 minutes without oxygen. But he'd been breathing when they found him. Barely. Maybe there was a chance. "She makes tamales," Shane continued, pumping steady as a metronome. "You said she makes them special for Christmas, with raisins and almonds. You hate the raisins, but eat them anyway, because she made them with love." 5 minutes until Harrison. Margot took over compressions again. Her shoulders streamed like hot pokers, her lower back spasmed. She kept going. Tyler vomited suddenly brown liquid mixed with white foam like rabid dog spit. She turned his head quick, kept him from choking on it. He still wasn't breathing on his own. "That's good," Shane said. "Body's fighting back." Footsteps on the stairs. Running. Harrison burst through the door, gray-haired now, wearing pajama pants under his overcoat like he'd dressed in the dark. He carried a medical bag, the old-fashioned kind doctors used to carry on house calls. "Narcan," he said, already filling a syringe. "How long has he been down?" 10 minutes, maybe more. Harrison pushed the Narcan into Tyler's thigh, right through his jeans. Waited. Nothing. He prepared another dose, hands steady as a watchmaker's. "Margot, dear God, what are you doing in this place?" He looked around her shabby room, took in the water stains, the bare bulb, the mattress on the floor. "We all thought you were—" "Not now, James." Second dose of Narcan. Tyler gasped like a drowning man breaking surface. His eyes flew open, pupils shrunk to pinpoints. He started thrashing immediately, withdrawal hitting like a freight train. "Hold him," Harrison ordered. Shane pinned Tyler's shoulders. The kid was stronger than his skinny frame suggested, muscles powered by the panic of sudden sobriety. He screamed, raw and animal, like something being born. I'm sorry, Tyler kept saying, tears and snot running down his face. "Shh, you're okay," Shane said. "You're alive. That's all that matters." Tyler's eyes found Shane's face, focused. "Mr. Shane, right here, buddy." Harrison started an IV, the needle sliding in smooth as butter. He pushed more medications through the line. Tyler's thrashing eased but didn't stop. He was crying steady now, the kind of crying that comes from the soul. "He needs a hospital," Harrison said. "Proper medical detox." "No insurance," Shane said. "No money, no family to pay." Harrison looked at Margot. She shook her head slightly. "Don't tell Shane about the money yet." Harrison understood. They'd known each other since before Marcus, back when they both worked at General. "I'll handle it," Harrison said. "Personal favor to an old friend." They got Tyler to his feet. He could barely stand. Shane and Harrison holding him up like a scarecrow. At the door. Tyler grabbed Margot's hand with fingers cold as February. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you, ma'am." After they left, Margot sat on her mattress. Tyler's vomit had soaked into her only sheets, the ones from Goodwill that she'd washed 100 times but never got really clean. The smell, sour and chemical, filled the small room. She pulled the sheets off, bundled them. She'd wash them in the sink later with dish soap, hang them on the shower rod to dry. Her hand shook now, adrenaline crash, like after she'd found Nathan that last time. She made instant coffee with cold tap water, didn't bother heating it. The bitter liquid helped steady her some. Shane came back 3 hours later. Dawn light leaked through her one window. Gray and tired. "Tyler's stable," he said. "Harrison got him into UCSF Medical Center, told them he was a paying patient. That's some friend you have." "We go way back?" "Way back to when you were a nurse, when you had money, when you were somebody." Shane sat on her one chair, that metal folding thing she'd found by the dumpster. "You called him from memory, Margot. No phone book, no looking it up." "I have a good memory, Margot." He said her real name, careful, like handling eggs. "I looked you up after the diner. Really looked. Marcus Sinclair's widow disappeared 4 years ago. Estate lawyers have been searching. There were articles in the Chronicle, even the Wall Street Journal." She said nothing. $67 million, just sitting there while you live like this? Shane leaned forward in that rickety chair. "You could have saved hundreds of kids like Tyler, like Nathan. Instead, you're here in a room that smells like vomit and despair, punishing yourself." "It's my money, my choice." "Is it, or is it just another kind of using another way to kill yourself slow?" Shane stood, barely favoring that bad leg now. "I'm meeting the building owner tomorrow, that hotel on Valencia, the St. Francis Arms, 40 rooms, good bones, but needs work. He wants $3 million. Good luck with that. Come with me." "No." "Just look at it. See what could be." "I said no." Shane walked to the door. "You saved Tyler tonight. Brought him back from the edge. Your hands did that. Margot, those same hands could save kids every day if you wanted." He left. Margot looked at her hands. Age spots like her mother had. Knuckles swollen with arthritis. Old hands that had just cracked a 17-year-old's ribs to save his life. She found Shane at the clinic on Valencia that afternoon. He was teaching a group of people how to use Narcan 3 homeless folks layered up despite the warm day. 2 college kids trying to look tough, and a middle-aged woman in nurse's scrubs from St. Mary's. "This is the plunger," Shane was saying, holding up the device. "Push hard and fast, all of it at once. Don't try to save some for later. It doesn't work that way." Margot stood in the doorway. The clinic was clean, but tired posters about HIV prevention curling at the edges. A shelf of free supplies like the church food bank. Clean needles in sealed packages, which would have been unthinkable in her day. "Now, you practice," Shane said. "Partner up, but don't actually inject." The students paired off, practicing the motion. Shane walked between them like a teacher, fixing their technique. He moved different here, sure of himself, like Marcus used to be when he talked about computers. "Good," he told the woman in scrubs. "But faster. Every second without oxygen is brain cells dying." He saw Margot, nodded, but kept teaching. "Remember, NAR can wear off in 30 to 90 minutes, but the overdose can come back. Always call 911 even if they wake up right away." After class, the students filed out. The college kids whispered to each other, probably about scoring later. Shane didn't seem to notice. Or maybe he just accepted what he couldn't change. "Didn't expect you," he said, putting supplies back in labeled boxes. "How's Tyler?" "Still at UCSF. Might make it." Shane locked the supply cabinet with a key on a chain like janitors wear. "Says you brought him back for a reason. Says God has a plan for him." "I just did compressions. You did more than that." Shane sat on the exam table. That paper they never changed crinkling under him. "You called Harrison. Used your real name. Revealed yourself to save a kid you never met before." "Harrison won't tell anyone. Not the point." Shane pulled out a manila folder thick as a phone book. "Building specifications. Want to see?" She took the folder. Blueprints, inspection reports, estimates for renovation, The hotel was built in 1923 Art Deco, details like the Fox Theater before they tore it down. Good bones under the decay, like Shane said? 40 rooms, Shane said. Could house 20 patients at a time, have 20 more for staff quarters, offices, group therapy. Kitchen still intact from when it was a residential hotel, industrial grade, could feed 100, $3 million to buy, another $2 million at least to renovate. At least, maybe more with earthquake retrofitting. Margot flipped through the pages. Old permits, zoning variances. The red tape alone would choke a horse. Why Valencia Street? Center of everything. Users can walk here from the tent camps. Close to BART for families visiting. Hospital 10 blocks for emergencies. Shane took the folder back. And it's where Nathan died. 2 blocks from here, corner of Valencia and 19th. Her throat closed tight as a fist. I walk past that spot every day, Shane continued. There's a little memorial. Someone leaves flowers. Fresh yellow roses every week. That was her. Every Tuesday at dawn, like clockwork. Yellow roses from the Safeway. When she could afford them, when she couldn't. Dandelions from the empty lot. This is insane, she said. Probably you're an ex-dealer, a felon. Who's going to trust you with millions? Someone who knows what it's like to lose everything? Shane hopped off the table. Come see the building. It's 2 blocks. No, just look at it. Margot. For Nathan, he headed for the door. Don't you use his name? She said. Then come for Tyler, for the next kid who's going to die in a stairwell. He turned back. I'm going. Follow or not? She followed. Lord help her, she followed. The hotel sat on the corner like a grand old lady who'd seen better days. 6 stories of faded glory, the sign reading, Say NTFANCSRS, half the letters gone. Plywood covered the ground floor windows, layers of graffiti like geological strata. Shane had a key. The lock was stiff, took him 3 tries. Inside, the lobby stretched wide. 2-story ceiling like a cathedral. Cracked marble floor that would have cost a fortune in nature on the registration desk was solid mahogany under dust thick as snow. Look up, Shane said. A painted skylight, covered with grime, but intact. Afternoon sun filtered through amber and cold, like honey through cheesecloth. They walked through. Kitchen massive enough to feed an army. 6 burners, 2 ovens that looked like they could roast whole pigs, walk-in freezer that somehow still hummed. They climbed to the 2nd floor. Small rooms, but each with a window. Some faced the street, some a courtyard grown wild with blackberry vines. Medical detox here, Shane said. Nurses round the clock. 3rd floor, rooms slightly bigger. Transitional housing. Once they're stable, teach them job skills, basic cooking, how to balance a checkbook. 4th floor. The rooms were suites, staff quarters. Need people living here. Someone always awake in case. 5th floor opened into a ballroom. Hardwood floors warped from a roof leak, but fixable. Group therapy, AA meetings, maybe dances. Eventually. Can you imagine kids who thought they'd die in an alley? Learning to dance. The roof was flat tar. Lawn chairs someone had dragged up here rusting in peace. The view stretched from downtown to the bay. Alcatraz squatting in the water. Charlie would have loved this, Shane said. Scared of heights, but loved views. Made me take him up Twin Peaks every Sunday after church. How much clean time did Charlie have? None. Shane's voice went flat. Never got the chance. Found him the first time he tried. My stash hidden in my room. Thought I was so clever. A plane passed overhead, probably heading to SFO, the sound rolling across the roof like distant thunder. I have conditions, Margot heard herself say. Shane turned so fast he almost fell. What? I control the money, every penny. You want to buy aspirin, you ask me? Fair. No drugs on the premises. Anyone using gets kicked out. That's not how recovery works. people relapse. Then they can relapse somewhere else. Try again when they're serious. Shane was quiet. Then, okay, you stay clean. One slip, I pull everything. Shh. Fair. And this isn't forgiveness. I'll never forgive you for selling to Nathan. I know. I'm doing this for Tyler, us, for the next Tyler, not for you. I know that too. She turned to leave. Margot. Shane's voice stopped her. The meeting with Whitman, well, tomorrow, noon, his office at 555 California Street. I'll wear a suit. You own a suit. I'll buy one at Goodwill. She headed for the stairs. At the door, looked back. Shane stood at the edge of the roof, looking out at the city like a captain watching for weather. Shane! He turned. Nathan's middle name was Shane. After my father, Nathan Shane Sinclair. Something broke in Shane's face, like ice cracking on a pond. Margot left before he could speak. She walked past the corner where Nathan died. The yellow roses from Tuesday were brown at the edges. She kept walking. At her building, an envelope under her door. No name, no stamp. Inside, a single key and a note in block letters. Rex knows about the old lady who helped you. He knows where she lives. The law office's marble floor squeaked under Margot's good shoes, the black pump she'd saved since Marcus's funeral. Shane walked beside her in a Goodwill suit that had probably belonged to a dead man. Navy blue, shiny at the elbows, smelling faintly of mothballs and Old Spice. Stop pulling at your tie, she said. Thing's strangling me. Good. Maybe it'll keep you from saying something stupid. The security guard at the desk looked them over like they might steal the fake plants. Margot in her funeral dress, Shane looking like an insurance salesman from 1987. Margot Sinclair for Alan Whitman, she said, voice steady as Sunday service. The guard checked his list, checked again. His eyebrows climbed toward his hairline. 40th floor, ma'am. Express elevator to your right. The elevator was all glass and chrome, like something from those science fiction movies Marcus used to watch. Shane's reflection bounced back from every surface a dozen uncomfortable Shane Tuckers, all tugging at their collars. Motion sick, she asked when he swallowed hard around the 20th floor. Don't like seeing through the floor. Ain't natural. 40th floor. The doors opened to a reception area that cost more than most folks' houses. White leather couches nobody sat in. Abstract paintings that looked like someone had sneezed paint on canvas. The receptionist had teeth like chiclets. Too white to be real. Mrs. Sinclair. She jumped up like she'd been goosed. Mr. Whitman he'll be right out. Alan appeared in seconds. 4 years had aged him badly. His hair gone from salt and pepper to mostly salt, lines around his eyes like dried riverbed. His suit probably cost more than Shane's monthly clinic salary. Margot, my God. Hello, Alan. He moved to embrace her. She stepped back. His arms dropped like broken wings. And this is Shane Tucker. Alan's professional smile curdled like milk in coffee. I see. The conference room could have held a revival meeting. Windows overlooking the bay, Alcatraz sitting out there like a reminder of where Shane had been, where he could end up again. 2 younger lawyers sat at the far end of the massive table, a matched set in matching suits. Legal pads at the ready. Coffee, Alan offered. It's that Hawaiian kind. Kona? No. Water Pellegrino? No. Alan sat in a chair that was deliberately higher than the others. Marcus used to call it peacocking. Margot, I need to advise against this course of action. Strongly, vehemently, even. Noted. You're proposing to give $67 million to... He looked at Shane like he was something stuck on his shoe. To a convicted felon. To a non-profit organization. The Nathan Sinclair Recovery Center. Margot pulled out papers from her purse. her own research from the library's law section, photocopied at 10 cents a page. I've drawn up the structure. The female lawyer, Asian woman, about 30, with a Harvard ring, took the papers, started reading with the speed of someone who billed by the hour. "This is remarkably comprehensive," she said. "Who assisted you with this?" "Nobody. I had time to read." The woman kept reading. "The legal structure is sound, but Mr. Tucker's criminal record presents significant challenges. His record is public knowledge." Margot turned to Alan. "Make it happen. Margot, this man sold heroin to your son. Nathan bought heroin. Shane sold it. If we're assigning blame, I deserve my share for not seeing it sooner. You deserve yours for advising me not to enable him by paying for rehab." Her voice stayed level as water. The whole system failed him. No beds when he wanted to quit. No help that didn't cost a fortune. The air conditioning hummed. Someone's stomach growled. Probably the male lawyer, who looked about 12. "The building on Valencia," she continued. $3 million to purchase, $2 million immediate renovation, $20 million operational endowment, the remainder in reserve, $25 million immediately. Alan's voice cracked like a teenager's. "By end of week." Shane shifted in his chair. The Goodwill suit rustled like newspaper. "Mr. Tucker," Alan said, "you understand the criminal liability if funds are misused." "Yes, sir." "Federal charges, prison time. You're already a 3-striker. Any violation—" "I understand." Alan turned back to Margot. "I insist on a psychiatric evaluation. Establish competency." "Fine. And a cooling-off period. 30 days to reconsider." "No." "Margot." She stood. "Do the paperwork, or I'll find someone who will. There's lawyers on every corner like Starbucks these days." The Asian lawyer spoke up. "I can have initial documents ready by Thursday." Alan shot her a look that could freeze water. She didn't flinch. "Thursday, then," Margot said. Thursday came. Papers signed. $25 million moved from one column to another on a computer screen, just numbers dancing. Friday. Shane hired his first contractor, Russian fellow named Dmitri, who had 3 years clean, worked steady, still went to meetings at St. Peter's every Sunday. Saturday, the city permit started their nonsense. "Conditional use permit," the city planner said, a young man with a beard like the hippies used to wear, but neater. "Environmental impact study, ADA compliance review, historical building assessment." He handed over applications thick as a phone book. "How long?" Shane asked. 6 to 8 months, if you're lucky." Shane looked at Margot. She pulled out her flip phone, called Harrison. "James, I need the mayor's personal number." Monday. Permits. Expedited like magic. Tuesday. Rex Brennan showed up. Margot saw them from the second-floor window where she and Shane were measuring for beds. 15 motorcycles lined up like the cavalry from those westerns Marcus loved. Rex in front, that gray beard catching morning sun like steel wool. "Stay here," Shane said. "No?" They went down together. Shane still limping slightly, that knee would never be right. Margot walking straight, despite her hip singing pain with every step. Rex smiled when they emerged, showing teeth that needed attention. Well, the odd couple." "Get off our property," Shane said. "Our property." Rex laughed like breaking glass. "You forget who you are. Boy, I know exactly who I am. You're a rat, and she's—" Rex looked at Margot, eyes narrow. "She's that junkie kid's mother. Nathan, whatever." The other angels shifted, leather creaking like old saddles. "Nathan Sinclair," Margot said clear as a bell. "My son, your son was worthless junkie trash." Shane moved faster than Margot thought possible with that knee. His fist connected with Rex's jaw. Sounded like a baseball bat hitting a side of beef. Rex went down hard, blood spraying from his mouth onto the sidewalk. The other angels surged forward like a wave. Stop! As Margot stepped between Shane and the pack, 5'3", 90 pounds, soaking wet, facing down 15 bikers each, twice her size. You sold him the hot shot, she said to Rex, who was spitting blood and what looked like a tooth. March 15th, 2012, 8 p.m., the fentanyl mix that killed him. Rex wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. Prove it. I don't need to. You know it. Shane knows it. I know it. She stepped closer. Shane took the blame because you had children. Where are those children now? Rex's face went dark as a bruise. Foster care, Margot continued, because you kept poisoning children while Shane tried to get clean. Shane's a rat. Shane's trying to save lives. What are you doing? She looked at the other angels. Some wouldn't meet her eyes. How many of you have family using brothers, sisters, children? Silence. One angel, younger, maybe 25, looked at his boots. This building will be a treatment center, Margot said. Free, no judgment, no cops, just help. She pointed at Rex. He can try to stop it. But I have $60 million and lawyers who eat men like him for breakfast. Want to test that? Rex got to his feet, swaying slightly. This ain't over. Yes, it is. Shane stepped forward. You come near this building again? I tell everyone about the kids you sold to, the pregnant girls, the 14-year-olds, everyone. You wouldn't. The code. You broke the code first when you sold to children. Rex looked at his brothers. Some backed him. Some didn't. The young one was already walking to his bike. Let's go, Rex said. They left, engines roaring like wounded animals. But they left. 6 weeks later, the renovation was ahead of schedule. Dimitri's crew, all in recovery, all working like their lives depended on it, had transformed the lobby. Marble gleamed, the skylight, cleaned and repaired, flooded the space with light like a church. Margot had moved to a small apartment 3 blocks away, nothing fancy. But it had hot water that stayed hot, a real bed with a real mattress, windows that actually opened. She walked to the center every morning, made coffee in the industrial kitchen, checked progress. Shane lived in the building already, sleeping on a cot in what would be the office, guarding the place like a watchdog. Tyler was there too, released from Azov with some memory problems. He'd forget names sometimes, repeated himself but alive. He helped where he could, mostly carrying supplies, sweeping up after the workers. His mother visited from Modesto, cried every time she saw him upright and breathing. The call came Tuesday morning, Harrison's voice careful, doctorly. Michan, you're 23. Came in yesterday for detox. Margot knew that tone. What happened? Seizure during withdrawal, respiratory failure. We tried everything. A pause. She died 20 minutes ago. The first death, not Tyler, saved by minutes and medicine, but Amy, who'd walked in on her own 2 feet, asking for help. Margot found Shane in what would be the group therapy room, setting up folding chairs in a circle, told him quiet as a prayer. He set down the chair he was holding, sat on the floor, put his head in his hands like a man in prayer or defeat. She had 2 kids, he said into his palms, 2 and 4 years old, living with their grandmother. We'll help with the funeral. That's not, Shane looked up, eyes red-rimmed. I promised her she'd be okay. Promised her she'd see her kids graduate high school. You couldn't know. Should have sent her to the hospital first. Should have had medical staff here already. Should have. Shane. Margot sat beside him on the floor, her knees protesting. We can't save them all. Then what's the point? She thought about Nathan, finding him that morning, already gone, already cold. The what-ifs that had eaten her alive for 12 years. The point is, we try. The funeral was Friday at a Chinese funeral home on Stockton. Small service, Amy's family, some people from the clinic, Shane and Margot. Amy's children didn't understand. The 4-year-old kept asking when Mommy was coming back from heaven. Shane paid for everything, used his entire savings from the clinic job, $4,000 he'd scraped together. That night, Margot found him on the roof of the center, not sitting in those rusted lawn chairs, standing at the edge, looking down at Valencia Street, 6 floors below. "Don't," she said. "I'm not going to jump." "Then step back." He did, turned to face her. "Rex was here during the funeral, left something." Shane pulled out a small baggie, white powder that caught the streetlight. Heroin, fentanyl, pure, enough to kill 5 people. Shane's hand shook, holding it. "He knows Amy's death is eating me, knows I want to use, knows exactly what buttons to push. Do you want to use? Every day, every hour, every minute." He walked back to the edge, held the bag over. "But if I use, you pull the funding. If I die, the center dies. If the center dies, how many Amy's die with it?" "Shane," he dropped the bag. It fell into the dumpster below with the construction debris. "I choose the center," he said. "I choose Tyler, and whoever comes next." They stood together on the roof. The city spread out like a circuit board, lights beginning to twinkle in the dusk. Somewhere out there, someone was overdosing. Someone else was getting clean. The wheel turning. "3 more weeks until we open officially," Shane said. "We'll be ready." A siren wailed in the distance. Getting closer. Shane tensed. "That's coming here," he said. They ran for the stairs. Shane's bad knee forgotten? Made it to the lobby as the ambulance pulled up. Paramedics rushed in carrying someone on a stretcher. A girl, maybe 18, blonde hair matted with sweat and vomit, belly round under the blanket, pregnant, maybe 7 months. Found her outside, the paramedic said. Note pinned to her shirt, said to bring her here. Margot looked at the note. Shane's name, her name, and one word, please. The girl's eyes opened, focused on Margot with pupils tiny as pinpricks. "Help me," she whispered. "Please, my baby." The girl's name was Hope. She told them between contractions that weren't labor, but withdrawal. Her body trying to turn itself inside out on the lobby floor. 7 months along, she gasped, sweat running off her like she'd been dunked in the bay. "Been using since I found out? Couldn't stop?" The paramedics wanted to transport, standard protocol. Shane blocked the gurney with his body. "She came here. She stays here." "Sir, we're not equipped for pregnancy complications." Margot pulled out her phone. "Dr. Harrison, UCCF, he'll come." "Lady, we can't just leave. I'm a nurse." The lie came easy. Her license had expired when Carter was president, but these boys didn't need to know that. She's stable for now. Hope's pulse hammered at 110. Blood pressure 140/90 high, but not stroke territory yet. The baby moved under that stretched shirt, rolling like something trapped. "When did you last use?" Margot asked. "This morning, maybe noon, maybe 1. Hope's eyes darted between them like a scared animal. "I want to quit for the baby, but when I try, I get so sick I think we'll both die." "Withdrawal could trigger premature labor," the lead paramedic said. "She needs medical supervision." "Then we do it here," Shane said. "She's our first real patient." Harrison arrived in 40 minutes with his trunk full of supplies like a traveling salesman of medicine. He took one look at Hope and shook his head the way he used to when Marcus ignored doctor's orders. "She needs a NICU on standby. That baby comes now. It won't survive without intensive care." "Then we make sure it doesn't come," Margot said. They set up in what would be the medical suite. 3rd floor, windows facing the courtyard where blackberries grew wild. Tyler helped carry equipment, his damaged speech making him quiet, but his hands steady as a surgeon's. "Methadone," Harrison said. "Maintain her until after delivery. It's the safest." "No." Hope grabbed Margot's arm hard enough to leave marks. "No more drugs, please. My mother was on methadone when she had me. I was born addicted, dreaming for 3 weeks. It's safer than cold turkey. I won't do that to my baby." Hope's grip tightened. "I won't." Harrison looked at Margot. The risks played across his face. Withdrawal could kill the baby, or Hope, or both. "We go slow," Margot said. "Comfort meds only. Monitor everything. You're gambling with 2 lives. It's her choice." The first night was manageable. Hope sweated through 3 sets of sheets. They'd bought them new from Target. Shane's first purchase with the center's money. He sat in a metal folding chair by her bed, telling stories to fill the silence. His voice low and steady, talking about nothing. The fog this morning, the seagull that stole his sandwich, anything but the pain twisting through her body. Second night, the fever spiked to 103. Baby's heart rate climbed to 180 beats per minute. Hummingbird fast. "Too high," Harrison said. He'd been sleeping in the next room on another cot, checking every 2 hours like a new parent. "We need to intervene." 5 more minutes, Margot said. Ice packs on Hope's neck, wrists, ankles everywhere. The blood ran close to skin. "Let's see if the fever breaks." 4 minutes. 3. Hope's eyes rolled back white. Her body went rigid as a board. "She's seizing!" Harrison reached for the Ativan. But it wasn't a seizure. Hope's water broke with a pop Margot heard across the room. Fluid soaked the mattress. Ran onto the floor. 7 months was too early. The NICU at UCF was 20 minutes by ambulance if traffic cooperated, which it never did. "Call 911, Harrison ordered. Shane was already dialing. Hope screamed, not pain, but terror. Pure as a child's. Too soon, he's too small. She'd said a boy who might not live to see morning. Contractions came like waves in a storm, 2 minutes apart, then 90 seconds, then 1 minute. No time for transport. "We're delivering here," Harrison said. "Margot, I need you." Her hands remembered the motions from San Francisco General, from the charity ward where she'd volunteered before Nathan was born. Sterile gloves from Harrison's bag. Check dilation 8 centimeters already. This baby coming whether they were ready or not. Shane held Hope's hand. She was crushing his fingers. He'd wear the bruises for weeks like purple medals. Tyler stood frozen in the doorway. "Towels," Margot told him. "All the clean ones you can find." He ran. Hope pushed, screamed, pushed again. The baby's head emerged, covered in white vernix like paste, impossibly small. One more push and he slipped into Margot's hands, no bigger than a chicken from Chinatown. Silence. The baby wasn't crying, it wasn't breathing, skin the color of a bruise. Harrison had the bulb syringe ready, suctioned the mouth, the nose, nothing. Margot rubbed the baby's back. Firm circles like her grandmother had taught her. "Come on, little one, come on." 10 seconds. 20. Shane had stopped breathing too, matching the baby's stillness. Then a cough. Tiny, weak as a kitten's mew. Then a cry, thin as tissue paper, but definitely a cry. "There we go," Harrison said, but his face stayed grim as a funeral. "He needs intensive care, now." The ambulance took 12 minutes that felt like 12 hours. The baby's breathing stopping and starting like a bad engine. Hope reaching for him. Harrison saying, "Not yet. He needs oxygen, needs warmth, needs more than they could give." They loaded mother and child. Shane climbed in too. "I'm going with them." "Shane," Margot started. "I'm going." The ambulance pulled away. Sirens splitting the night. Margot stood in the empty room, blood on the floor, fluid soaked into the new mattress. The battlefield of birth and almost death. Tyler appeared with an armload of towels. Too late for everything. Baby, okay. His damaged speech made it sound like Bay-E-O-A. I don't know. 3 days passed. Shane didn't come back to the center. Boma didn't call. Margot worked with Dimitri's crew, supervised the endless details. The opening was in 9 days. Beds delivered. Kitchen almost ready. But Shane's absence hung over everything like fog. 4th day, March 10th. She went to UCEF. Hope was in the maternity ward. Room 32, the baby she'd named him Christopher after her father was in NICU. Tubes and wires made him look like a science experiment. 2 pounds, 3 ounces. Breathing machine doing what his lungs couldn't. Shane sat in the hallway between the 2 rooms. Looked like he hadn't slept since they'd arrived, hadn't eaten, stubble becoming a beard. His hands had that tremor again, worse than before. Today's the day, he said without looking at her. She knew. March 10th. Charlie's death anniversary. 18 months and 4 days clean. And Shane was coming apart at the seams. He might not make it, Shane said, meaning Christopher. Lungs aren't developed. Grade 2 brain bleed. They're doing everything but. Where's Hope? Pumping breast milk. He can't even drink yet. Praying, crying, asking God why. Shane finally looked at her. His eyes were red as traffic lights. She asked me to be his godfather. That's good. No, it's not. Shane stood fast, started pacing that narrow hallway. I killed Charlie. I'll kill this kid too. Everything I touch dies. Amy died. Nathan died. Charlie died. That's not. I should have died instead. Should have been me in that bathroom with the needle. Stop. Rex was right. That fentanyl. I should have. Margot slapped him, hard enough to snap his head sideways. A nurse at the station looked up alarmed. We're fine. Margot told her. Shane touched his cheek, already reddening in the shape of her hand. You want to use, Margot said. Not a question. Every cell in my body wants to use. Then go. He stared at her. Go use. She continued. Kill yourself with Rex's poison. Abandon Hope and Christopher and Tyler and everyone counting on you. Prove you're exactly what Rex says. Weak, worthless, a waste. I am weak. Yes, you are. She moved closer. So was Nathan. So was I, when I couldn't save him. So was everyone walking these halls. She grabbed his shirt, polyester from Goodwill. But weak people can still choose, every minute, every hour. Choose. Shane's legs gave out. He slid down the wall, sat on that hospital floor that had seen everything, put his head between his knees. Charlie would be 18 today, he said to the linoleum. Would have graduated high school in June. Had a scholarship to state for pre-vet. And Margot sat beside him, her knees popping like bubble wrap. Nathan would be 35, she said. Maybe married, kids of his own. He wanted 3, said odd numbers were lucky. I'm so tired of carrying this. Then put it down. I can't. Then carry it better. She stood, offered her hand. Come on, Christopher needs to meet his godfather. Shane took her hand, let her pull him up. They walked to the NICU window. Through the glass, Christopher lay in his plastic box, impossible small, fighting for each breath. He's going to make it, Shane said. Maybe. No, he will. He has to. Shane pressed his palm against the glass. You hear me? Christopher, you're going to live, grow up, have the life Charlie didn't get. A machine started beeping. Sharp, urgent. Nurses rushed to Christopher's incubator. What's happening? Shane grabbed a passing nurse. Sir, please step back. More staff. A doctor running, actually running. The beeping got louder, more insistent. Through the crowd of medical staff, Margot saw Christopher's tiny chest stop moving, saw the monitor flatline. Shane made a sound like something breaking. Then, through all that chaos, a different sound, a cry, thin, angry, but alive. The monitor showed a heartbeat, weak but steady. The doctor emerged looking like he'd run a marathon. "He's stable, for now." Shane's legs gave out again. This time, Margot caught him. "I almost used yesterday," Shane whispered. "Went to my old dealer on 16th, had money in hand." "What stopped you?" "Tyler. He was there, buying milk at midnight from a dealer's corner." Shane laughed. "Broken?" "Said he was lost. Midnight on the hospital parking structure, 10 floors up." Shane stood at the edge, looking down at the city lights spread out like a connect-the-dots puzzle. His 18-month sobriety chip burned in his pocket, one of those aluminum tokens they gave out at meetings, worn smooth from his thumb, rubbing it like a worry stone. The city spread below lights and lives and a million different kinds of pain. Somewhere a siren wailed, always a siren in this city. His phone buzzed. Tyler's number. "Where are you?" Shane didn't answer. Another text. "Need you at center. Now emergency." Shane almost ignored it. Then, "It's about Charlie." His blood went cold as February rain. Nobody here knew about Charlie except... He ran for the elevator, then the stairs. When the elevator took too long, drove his beat-up Honda through empty streets, running red lights like they were suggestions. Pulled up to the center to find the front door standing open. Lights off inside. A single candle flickered in the lobby. Tyler stood beside it, his face twisted with worry. Behind him, spray-painted in red across the wall they'd just finished, Charlie Tucker, murdered by his uncle Shane. Below it, Charlie's school photo, the one Shane carried, blown up huge, wheat pasted to the wall like those missing person posters. And below that, in Shane's own handwriting, copied from his recovery journal, "I killed him. I killed my nephew. I deserve to die. Rex." Had to be Rex. Nobody else had access to that journal, except Shane's stomach dropped. His sponsor. Rex had gotten to his sponsor. Tyler pointed to the floor with a shaking hand. A syringe, a baggie of white powder. "Found when I came to check," Tyler said, his damage to speech careful. "Didn't touch nothing." And Shane picked up the bag, enough fentanyl to kill him 10 times over. A note attached in Rex's block printing. "For Charlie, do the right thing." Shane looked at Charlie's photo on the wall, that crooked smile, those clear eyes before the drugs took him. He opened the bag. The powder looked like sugar in the candlelight. Shane poured a small amount into his palm. Tyler made a sound like a wounded dog. "Shane! No, please." Shane walked to Charlie's photo, touched the boy's face with his clean hand, remembered teaching him to ride a bike in Golden Gate Park, his laughter when he finally got it, remembered finding him on the bathroom floor, Shane's own needle still in his arm. Then he turned the bag upside down. The fentanyl fell like ash onto the lobby floor. "Get the bleach," he told Tyler. "All of it, and water. Buckets of water." They spent 3 hours cleaning, diluting the fentanyl until it was harmless as salt, scrubbing Rex's message from the wall, though the red paint left a ghost behind. Charlie's photo Shane kept, folded it careful as origami, placed it in his wallet next to the other one. Tyler's phone buzzed at 3 a.m. He showed Shane the text from the hospital, Christopher breathing on his own. Shane sat down hard on the wet floor, put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook, but no sound came out, the kind of crying that came from so deep it didn't have a voice. Morning came gray through the skylight. Margot arrived to find them both asleep. Tyler curled on a drop cloth like a dog, Shane sitting against the wall beneath the faint red stain where Charlie's photo had been. She nudged Shane with her toe. He jerked awake, hand going automatically to his pocket like an old habit. "We need to talk," she said. He followed her to the courtyard. Weeds grew waist-high, except where they'd cleared that 12 section. Someone had dragged a bench out there, probably Dimitri's crew on smoke breaks. They sat. Morning hadn't reached into the courtyard yet, everything gray as old dishwater. "Tyler told me," she said, "about last night. I didn't use." "I know." She pulled out a manila folder, thick with papers. "This came to my apartment this morning, slipped under the door." Inside were photocopies, police reports from March 15, 2000, but different from the ones she'd memorized. Different case numbers, different times, different everything. Incident report, 8:40 p.m. She read, "Dealer Rex Brennan observed in transaction with white male, early 20s. Transaction interrupted by patrol unit. Buyer fled on foot. Dealer detained. Released insufficient evidence." Shane took the paper. His hands trembled like leaves. Description of buyer. Margot continued, reading from another sheet. 5'10", brown hair with bleached tips, wearing Berkeley sweatshirt, left seen heading north on Valencia. "Nathan, there's more." Another paper. Witness statement from Manuel Reyes, store owner, reports seeing same individual purchased narcotics from Rex Brennan at approximately 8:15 p.m. Buyer appeared distressed, crying. Shane's breath came out shaky. "Where did these come from?" Note on the envelope said, "Ask Shane about the first time." Shane stood, walked to the overgrown blackberry vines, kicked at a dead plant hard enough to snap it in half. "March 15th, up," he said to the weeds. "Nathan came to me at 5, like I told you. Corner of Mission and 16th. Bought $40 worth." He turned to face her. "He came back at 7:30? You said 8? I lied. He found me at 7:30. Different corner, 20th and Admission. By the check cashing place that's a Starbucks now. Said the stuff wasn't strong enough, begging for more, for something stronger." Margot's chest tightened like a fist. "You sold to him again?" "No." Shane met her eyes straight on. "I told him no. Told him to go home, sleep it off, try again tomorrow with less. His tolerance was down from trying to quit." The morning sounds of the city filtered in, garbage truck rumbling past, someone's car alarm, a dog barking. "But you told the police." "I told them I sold to him twice because Rex had already been picked up and released that night. Insufficient evidence, like that report says. If I hadn't taken credit for both sales, nobody would have been charged." Shane laughed, bitter as black coffee. "Thought I was being noble. When men in prison instead of none, somebody paying for Nathan's death." "Why didn't Rex correct it?" "Street code. You don't contradict someone taking your weight. Makes you look weak. Makes you a snitch." Shane came back to the bench. "Rex sold Nathan the hot shot, the fentanyl mix. I've known it for 12 years. Carried the guilt anyway because I sold him the first batch. Without that, maybe he doesn't go looking for more." Margot pulled out her wallet. Behind her behind the emergency 20, a folded piece of paper, soft as cloth from handling, Nathan's last note, the one she'd found in his apartment. "Read it," she said. Shane unfolded it like it might crumble. Nathan's handwriting, shaky but still his. "Mom, I'm sorry. I tried so hard, but it's stronger than me. I love you more than words, always have. But I can't stop. I'm going to use until it kills me. Please forgive me. Please forget me. Be happy, Nathan." Shane's hand shook, holding the note. He knew that night it would kill him. If not that dose, the next one. Doesn't make it easier. Makes it harder, knowing he chose it. Margot took the note back, folded it carefully along the worn creases. "But you tried to stop him. That's something." "Not enough. No, never enough." She stood, walked to the cleared patch of dirt where they'd pulled weeds weeks ago, knelt down, started pulling more. "Help me." Shane knelt beside her. They pulled weeds in silence, handful by handful. The dirt underneath was dark, rich, good soil under all that neglect. "Charlie chose it too," Shane said, yanking a stubborn dandelion. "First time using, but still his choice. Found my stash. I thought I had hidden so well. Under the bathroom sink behind the Drano. Kids find everything." "Yeah." Shane's fingers found something in the soil, a bulb, dormant but alive. "Iris, maybe, or daffodil. We'll plant it somewhere safe, away from the weeds." They kept clearing. The sun finally made it over the building next door, warming the courtyard. Shane's hands were filthy, dirt under every nail. Margot's too. "I've been carrying this guilt-like armor," Shane said. "If I'm guilty enough. Maybe their deaths mean something." "They don't mean anything." Margot sat back on her heels. "Deaths like that never do. Pointless, wasteful, stupid. Then why? What we do after, that might mean something." She stood, knees protesting. "We open in 5 days. We're not ready. We'll never be ready. But people are dying while we wait to be perfect." She brushed dirt from her hands. "Christopher gets out tomorrow. Hope needs somewhere safe. She can't be our first real patient. If something goes wrong." "Something will go wrong. If not her, someone else." Margot picked up the bulb Shane had found. "But not everything goes wrong. Tyler lived. Christopher lived. Maybe Hope will too." Shane's phone rang. "Harrison, you both need to come. Now, Hope's having complications." They drove in Shane's Honda, him running yellows, her gripping the door handle, at UCSF. They found Hope in her room, face gray as the morning had been, blood on the sheets. "Hemorrhaging," Harrison said quietly, "from the delivery. It stopped, but she's weak." Hope's eyes found them. "Christopher, he's breathing on his own," Margot said. "Getting stronger. I want to see him. Soon. Now. Please." Hope tried to sit up, fell back. "I might not. If something happens." Harrison wheeled her to NICU in a wheelchair, IV pole rattling along. Through the window, Christopher, in his incubator, still tiny, still wired up, but his chest rising and falling on its own. "Look at him," Hope whispered. "He's fighting. Like his mama," Shane said. Hope turned to him. "If I don't make it, you will. If I don't, promise me, you'll make sure he knows I loved him, that I tried to get clean for him. You're going to tell him yourself." But Hope's eyes were already closing. The machine started beeping. Harrison checked her vitals, his face going tight. "We need to get her back to her room, now." As they wheeled her away, Hope grabbed Shane's hand. "Promise me." "I promise." The elevator doors closed on her pale face. Shane stood in the hallway, fist pressed against the wall. "She's 23, he said. Same age Nathan was. Margot's phone buzzed. "Unknown number," she answered. "Your boy's dealer friend better watch himself," Rex's voice, rough as sandpaper. "Accidents happen, even in hospitals." 2 years later, the Nathan Sinclair Recovery Center had treated 312 people, lost 47. Shane knew every name, kept them written in that same notebook where he'd once cataloged his drug sales. Different list now, different purpose. Tyler ran the night shift. His speech had improved with therapy, still slurred some words when tired, but clear enough. 2 years, 4 months, 11 days clean. He kept track on a calendar in the office, Xing off each day like a kid counting to Christmas. Hope had made it through that hemorrhage, though it took 3 transfusions. Finished her GED in the center's classroom. They'd converted 2 rooms on the 4th floor, started community college, studying to be a drug counselor. Christopher, 2 years old now, spent days in the nursery they'd built. Turned out lots of addicts had kids. Kids who needed somewhere safe while their parents fought to get clean. Shane's office wall held photographs. Not just the dead anymore, the living too. Tyler getting his 6-month chip, grinning wide. Hope in cap and gown at her graduation. Christopher taking his first steps right there in the lobby where they'd once cleaned fentanyl off the floor. In the corner, smaller, older, Nathan and Charlie, side by side. 2 boys who'd never met but whose deaths had built this place. 5 years. In Tuesday morning, Margot was making soup in the center's kitchen, chicken noodle for 30 people, same recipe her mother had taught her. Her right arm went numb first, then her leg. She managed to turn off the burner before she fell. Tyler found her 10 minutes later, called 911, called Shane, called Harrison. By the time Shane reached San Francisco General, they'd taken her there. Closest hospital, she was conscious but couldn't speak. Her eyes tracked him as he entered the room. Left hand moved slightly on the blanket. Harrison stood by the bed, face grave as a tombstone. Major stroke, left hemisphere, speech center affected, maybe some recovery, but how long? Days, maybe a week if we're lucky. Shane sat in the visitor's chair, took her left hand, felt the weak squeeze back. The center's full, he told her. 22 patients right now. Hope's teaching the parenting class. She's good at it. Tyler's sponsoring 3 people from the neighborhood. Margot's eyes stayed on his face. Christopher asked about you yesterday. Called you Grandma Mar. Shane's voice caught like a hangnail on fabric. Hope told him that's what you are. Everyone's grandma here. A tear ran down Margot's cheek. Shane wiped it with his thumb. For 3 days, he talked, told her every story from the center, read her the thank you letters from former patients, some doing well jobs, apartments, reunited with family. Some had relapsed back on the street or in jail. Some had died. But all remembered the lady who made soup, who sat with them through the shaking, who never judged. On the 4th day, Margot's breathing changed, longer gaps between breaths, like she was forgetting how. I forgave you, she whispered, words slurred, but clear enough. Long time ago. I know. Tell Nathan. Her eye focused on something past Shane's shoulder. Tell him I understand now. She died at 3:40. The same time of day Nathan had died 13 years before. Shane held her hand until the nurses made him let go. The funeral was at the center. They moved everything out of the lobby, set up folding chairs from the Baptist church down the street. 400 people came, former patients, current patients, families, staff from other treatment centers, even some city officials who'd fought them at first. Shane spoke from the makeshift platform they'd built. Margot Sinclair taught me that forgiveness isn't about the person you're forgiving. It's about choosing to build instead of burn. She could have used her money for revenge, could have destroyed me, destroyed Rex, burned down the whole neighborhood with her grief. He looked out at the crowd. So many faces he recognized, lives touched, because one woman chose to help the man who'd hurt her most. Instead, she built this, fed you soup, cleaned up after you, held your hands through the worst of it. She chose love over hate every single day, even when love was harder. It's 1 year after Shane was planting tomatoes in the garden when Hope's daughter arrived. Grace, 20 now, pregnant, walking careful with one hand on her back. Uncle Shane, he'd never get used to that. Wasn't really her uncle, but at the center, everyone was family somehow. How's medical school? He asked. Pre-med is brutal, but good. Grace knelt beside him, slow and careful. I wanted to tell you the names. Yeah, if it's a girl, Margot. If it's a boy, Nathan. Shane's hands stilled on the tomato plant. The sun was warm on his neck. Somewhere in the center, Someone laughed. Someone else was probably crying. Both sounds of healing. Your mother told you the whole story. Everything. How this place started. How forgiveness works. Grace touched her belly. Everyone deserves another chance. Shane looked at the garden, where Rex had salted the earth 6 years ago. Yellow roses grew now, the same kind Margot used to leave at Nathan's memorial. The soil had recovered. Things grew again. They planted in silence. The center hummed with life. Shane thought about Margot, about Nathan, about Charlie, about all the ghosts that had built this place. Christopher ran out 5 years old, all energy and questions. Uncle Shane, Mom says, dinner. Tell her we're coming. The boy ran back. Grace stood with Shane's help. They walked inside together. The lobby was full dinner time, everyone together. Someone had hung a new sign next to Margot's photo, in memory of all those lost, in hope for all those still fighting. Below it, fresh yellow roses. Someone always brought them now. Shane took his place at the serving line, ladled soup into bowls. The work continued. Connecting communities. I need to tell you something about this story. It's not really about Margot and Shane. It's about the person you pass at the grocery store who's 40 days clean. It's about the mother at church who lost her son and doesn't know how to keep breathing. It's about the neighbor who used to deal and now can't sleep for the memories. Every town has its mission district. Every family knows someone touched by this poison. Maybe it's pills from the doctor that got out of hand. Maybe it's the bottle that became 10 bottles. Maybe it's something else that steals our children and leaves ghosts. What Margot taught us, all of us who knew her, is that grief and rage are just love with nowhere to go. She took $67 million of nowhere-to-go love and built somewhere for it to land, a place where the guilty and innocent work side by side. The real miracle isn't that Shane stayed clean or Tyler lived. It's that two people who should have destroyed each other chose to build instead. That's what connects us, not our wounds, but our choosing to heal them together. Disclaimer, this is a work of fiction, inspired by stories of redemption and recovery, created solely for entertainment purposes. This story does not condone, encourage, or promote any form of drug use, violence, or harmful behavior. All characters and events are products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to real persons, living or deceased, or actual events, is purely coincidental. If you or someone you know struggles with addiction, please seek professional help. Recovery resources are available through SAMHSA's National Helpline 1-800-662-HELP